As I mentioned last week, these Gospels of Easter can almost have themed nicknames, so to speak, whether that be Mercy Sunday or Good Shepherd Sunday, and we almost labeled last Sunday as Fruity Sunday with all those fruits that the word fruit used. And of course, on this sixth Sunday of Easter, the word love is used so much. And how wonderful to have Love Sunday on Mother's Day as well, because why do we honor our mothers on this special day? It's because we who are children, it is our love and our devotion to our moms, whether they be living or with the Lord now in His kingdom. To love. But Jesus is commanding us not only to love our mothers, but to love everyone. And notice that word that He is using. It's not too often in the four Gospels and all of Jesus' teachings and preachings and sermons in which He's instructing us how to live lives that will lead us to our God in heaven. But it's very rare that Jesus uses the word command, because that's a very strong word. When somebody commands you to do something, that's strong language. It's not just you should do this. It's not just you must do this. It's I command you to do this. And Jesus says, this I command you, love one another. That is the hallmark of what a Christian is. If there's any visible mark of our Christianity as a follower of Jesus Christ, it is how we love one another. In one of the ancient writings, one of the pagans made note and said, see these Christians, see how they love one another. So even the unbelievers, the pagans, noted that hallmark, visible sign of what a Christian is and what a Christian is all about. It is about loving. Last night I stopped over at Menards. Now, I have a few very, very favorite stores. Fleet Farm is number one. Menards, Lowe's. We don't have a Home Depot here, but I like them too. Obviously, our beloved hardware store right here in town is also a venerable place. Church is more important, don't worry. But sadly, last night when I went to Menards, I pulled into a parking space, and then next to me, another fellow pulled his truck in, an older man, and then the next space after that was not a parking space. It was sort of the little triangular corner before you get to the curve, before you cross over to the store. But somebody tried to park their truck there as well. And it was a very tight fit. It wasn't really a fit at all. And the individual who was trying to pull into there rolled his window down and started screaming obscenities at the poor guy next to me, who was legitimately parked, telling him that he should move over. I won't even repeat the wordage that was being used. I mean, this guy has a real hard problem about what loving is. Sadly, that's not an isolated event anymore. I think we're all seeing this more and more, that civility amongst ourselves is diminishing by the day. People do not know how to treat one another anymore with respect, which really is what love is all about. Every human being has dignity, no matter who he or she is, what they believe in. You treat them with reverence. You would treat them the same way as you would the very Eucharist. because the breath of God is in every human being. So what is happening to the love? You know, we pat ourselves on our backs as to our great achievements in the last century. And yet I see that civility diminishing more and more and more to almost bordering on a barbarism. It's really appalling. I'll go there. Look at how people are treating each other in these elections. I'm not on either side, because both sides I have seen such a lack of respect and how people are treating one another, and has divided so many people. Divided so many people. Families, neighborhoods. You know, I shake my head as I drive up these streets and see all these signs on either side. And all it's doing is it's just compounding the division. And there is a lot of lack of loving going on with this on both sides. If one person says something or writes something, then it's like it gives the other person license to call them names. That's not civility. That's not respect. That's not the commandment here, love one another. If we allow our politics to supersede our love of neighbor, then we have made our politics our false god and our false religion. And sadly, I think there are many who have made their political affiliations on either side more important than this commandment to love one another, to treat one another with reverence and respect. It has to begin in our homes and in our workplaces, but especially in our homes. Husbands and wives and how they treat each other. You know, what role models do we have anymore? Any particular show on television, what are husbands and wives portrayed as? They belittle each other. They treat each other with a horrible lack of respect. Is that art imitating life? I hope not. But entertainment is art, supposedly, and it does supposed to imitate life. Hopefully we're not imitating it. Because there is a grave lack of love in our homes as well. Husbands and wives, children to their parents, parents to their children. If it's not happening there in the nursery of love, which is the home and the family, that's why it's spilling out into the streets and into public, why there is such a lack of civility, because it's not happening in the home anymore. If we can't treat each other in home with love and reverence, then we're not going to do it out there in the streets or in our workplaces, in our schools. We won't even mention the violence in the schools. We're really going backwards. We need to reverse it. We need to start loving. This I command you, love one another. Let us love as Jesus loves us.